The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are 7.5 point favorites over the Toronto Argonauts on Friday, who are expected to rest Chad Kelly under center. IG Field has already sold out as the Blue Bombers will look to keep pace with the BC Lions, who sit tied atop the West Division at 10-4. Do the Argos stand a chance without Kelly?
They do. It's just not much of a chance. Like, it should be noted that the Bombers have lost this season to Dustin Crum, Jake Dolegala, and to Taylor Powell. Like, that is not a flattering list for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers playing against guys who open the season as third string quarterbacks. That being said, this is going to be an electric atmosphere. This is going to be a packed house, a sold out IG field. Cameron Dukes is 25. He played his college football at Lindsey Wilson, which is a school I'd never heard of before looking this up. And his
NAIA,
only
baby.
his only previous pro experience came in the indoor football league as a member of the Vegas Nighthawks. This is going to be his first career CFL start, assuming he does in fact start. I can't think of a much tougher environment in which to do that than a sold out IG field where fans are going to rapidly be cheering on the home side as they try to secure first place in the West Division. This line has moved dramatically after the news of Kelly likely sitting. I don't care. I'm taking the Bombers and all those points.
Yeah, I don't care what this line is. Cameron Dukes is under center. And I know we only saw him briefly in that one Toronto loss where he had to go in for Chad Kelly when he hurt his ankle briefly. But boy, oh boy, he did not look like the next Dustin Crum or the next Taylor Powell or the next Jake Dolegala under those admittedly harsh circumstances. And this is a guy who is coming from levels of football that typically players don't have a lot of success coming from in the CFL. If you want a poster child for the impact that the USFL or the XFL have had on recruiting, especially quarterbacks in the CFL, Cameron Dukes is that guy because even a couple years ago, he'd be at best a practice roster player. Now he's a primary backup for a Grey Cup contender. That's a serious issue in my mind. And I just have no faith that he's going to be able to get it done, especially if the Argos are resting other members of the team, which I suspect they will. He could have some backup offensive linemen in there, should have some backup receivers. That's not going to match up well against the vaunted Bombers.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders are 10-point underdogs when they visit the Lions on Friday night. BC has won 3 straight games while the Riders are on a 3-game slide. Can Saskatchewan overcome the odds to get the win out west, or can the Lions take care of business at home?
I'm taking the Lions here. They've been generally very good at home this season, and I think that win over the Elks is going to give them a little bit of confidence as they've been a bit slow the last couple weeks. They're the better team. There's no question here, and Saskatchewan is struggling. I will, however, given how wide this point spread is, take the Riders to cover because I don't fully trust the Lions quite yet. They've made the last couple games way closer than they needed to be because of some errors at quarterback from Vernon Adams Jr. He needs to clean up the turnovers if he wants to cover here.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. And this is what I'm going to call my last chance for the Riders. The Riders have this chance to prove to me that they can rally, just as their head coach has said. I do think the Riders deserve a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, given that they have been better than last season. That being said, as stated earlier in the show, they have the worst point differential of any team in the CFL. Their record is a lot better than Edmonton's and Calgary's and Ottawa's, but their point differential is in fact worse. That means they've been winning close and getting their butts whipped by large margins when they lose. They need to get a win in this game to rally their fans. I don't see the win, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they can keep it really close. Because if they lose this game by a large margin, I don't blame any of the fans who have either already jumped off the bandwagon or will jump off the bandwagon as a result of this loss. This is as close to a must-win as you can get. The Riders need to build this confidence. They need to show that they can beat one of the 2 best teams in the West Division on the road because they're going to have to do that twice if they hope to get to the Grey Cup this year.
The Montreal Alouettes are short favorites against the Ottawa Redblacks this Saturday in a game that has major playoff implications. The Owls can clinch a postseason berth with a win, while the Redblacks can be eliminated with a loss, and if the Riders and Ticats both win. Can Montreal get a second straight victory?
I have taken the Alouettes every time they've not played one of the top three teams in the CFL, and that has worked for me. So I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to take the Owls to win and also cover this short spread if in fact it remains a short spread. It currently is, but when it's under 3 points, these lines move very quickly. I am happy to take this team. They have shown they can take care of business against the bottom 5 clubs in the CFL. To me, the Alouettes are kind of on a tier of their own right now between the bottom 5 teams in the league and the top 3 teams. They're 7-0 against the worst teams, and they're 0-7 against the best. That's really bad news for Alouettes fans come playoff time, but for right now, they get the chance to beat up on the Ottawa Redblacks. I think that this is a good choice. Though I will say, as much as I'm taking the Alouettes, kudos to the Redblacks for getting it done last week and closing out that game. I'd called the Redblacks losers previously because they had lost 7 games in a row, but they are finding ways to win. I wouldn't be surprised if the Redblacks found a way to get this one done on the weekend.
I've followed a similar successful formula to you, Hodge, because the Alouettes have been dead center in the CFL all season, beating the teams they should beat and losing to the teams that they're worse than. But I'm going to change it up this week because I feel like this is a game rife for a little bit of an upset. The Alouettes, to me, have not shown the urgency like I think they should be playing with at this stage in the season, and the Ottawa Redblacks are fighting for their damn lives on every single snap and have looked very, very good the last couple weeks. Let's not forget that before that victory over the Riders, which was incredibly impressive, they played extremely well against the Lions and were a mere miracle of a field goal return away from winning that game. They were up 16 points in the final 3 minutes. So I think the Redblacks are on the rise right now. This is going to be the first time the Alouettes' formula for success fails, and they're going to lose this game.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats are short favorites over the visiting Calgary Stampeders on Saturday. The Stamps have lost 5 of their last 6 games, while the Ticats are coming off a 29-14 home loss to the Toronto Argonauts. Calgary is looking to keep their faint playoff hopes alive, while the Ticats still have a chance to host a postseason game. Who you got?
I have zero faith whatsoever in the Calgary Stampeders right now. To me, they look like a team that doesn't know what they're doing on the field. They look like a team that doesn't have any answers off the field right now. That dynasty has entirely collapsed at this stage, as we've predicted for several seasons at this point, but they've kept making the playoffs. Now it's finally happened. The Hamilton Tiger Cats are going to take this victory and drive the knife home on what was once the premier organization in the CFL.
Yeah, the Calgary Stampeders are 9th in our power rankings for a reason, and that reason is they're just not very good. I'm taking the Hamilton Tiger Cats to win in this one and cover. It's less than a field goal right now. I'm happy to float that. The Stampeders couldn't get it done at home last week against the Alouettes. If you're not going to win at home against the Alouettes, I have a hard time seeing you go into Steeltown and getting the victory there. Calgary, you may as well start deciding who you're going to take with the first overall pick in next year's draft. Sorry to say it. Maybe second, maybe third, but top 3 for sure.